made to you so special? Nothing. I'm just a kid from Brooklyn. I was from Brooklyn.
Brooklyn!
Were you scared of that? No, not at all, huh?
Nope. I'm from Brooklyn.
You're from Brooklyn, huh?
I just wanna rap. Okay guys, Frank Stout, just a guy from Brooklyn, and I'm here to bring you the top 10 spooky prom movies. As always, we gotta go through my 2 rules before we get started. Rule number 1 is spoilers. With the exception of the new movie Fear Street Prom Queen, I don't plan on spoiling anything in particular, but you never know. But I definitely will not spoil that one. Rule number 2 is, as always, this is a favorites list, not a best list. So the best way that you can talk to me about my list is in the comments section by showing me yours. Kicking things off, my lone honorable mention is Urban Legends Bloody Mary. Came out in 2005. A wasted opportunity, as you've got this great concept using the famous Bloody Mary 1, 2, 3 myth, combining it with a prom night story. But this feels too much like Prom Night 2, which also happens to use the name Mary. It also doesn't help that the horror classic Candyman already used that standing in front of a mirror, saying the name multiple times stuff. Ironically, this is all mentioned verbatim in a slumber party in the beginning to set it all up. The second biggest problem is budget. There's a scene where a teenage girl is overwhelmed by fake-looking CGI spiders which come out of a zit on her face. Now, I'm not buying any of that bread, baby. That being said, I've always liked Kate Mara, who headlines this, and if you've got the suspension of disbelief, you should have a good time. Coming in at number 10 is Tragedy Girls. Came out in 2017. Psychopathic high school girls Michaela and Sadie, played by Alexandra Shipp and Deadpool's Brianna Hildebrand, live in the Midwestern town of Rosedale, and they run a true crime blog called, you guessed it, The Tragedy Girls. They're obsessed with murder and fame and are willing to do anything to get more followers. Like, say, kidnapping an actual slasher killer so he can take the blame for all the people they plan to kill and also get some much needed pointers. The cast is impressive with Kevin Durant, Josh Hutcherson, Jack Quaid, Craig Robinson, and many more. It's a really cute and clever horror comedy about these BFF killer trainees as they trial and error their way to prom night and infamy. I doubt it'll ever be dubbed a classic, but it's still a fun watch. Coming in at number 9 is Prom Night 3, The Last Kiss. Came out in 1990. This cheap and crappy sequel follows still pissed off prom queen ghost Mary Lou Maloney as she escapes from hell and sets her sight on high school boy Alex, causing a love triangle between him and his girlfriend. This is way sillier than Prom Night 2, reaching almost parody levels. Mary Lou is played by another actress, and her motives no longer make much sense as she seduces Alex and helps him get ahead while simultaneously kills anyone who's wronged him. But here's the rub, guys and gals. It's actually a fun, silly time. You've got a jukebox jolt, death by ice cream, which was really weird, a battery acid hairstyle makeover, and she gets into the school spirit, pun intended, by turning a football into a gut-busting monster drill bit. Definitely stuff I've never seen before. It's just bad enough and good enough to reach guilty pleasure status. Coming in at number 8 is Night of the Creeps. Came out in 1986. This 80s John Hughes-esque style B-movie follows a pair of teenage boys who encounter slug-like creatures who of course enter by mouth and turn their victims into zombies. It's one part teen drama, one part creature feature, and one part zombie movie as the dead look to crash prom night. Here to help is Tom Atkins of The Fog and Halloween 3 fame, playing a cop looking to stop the spread. He adds those acting chops to a relatively unknown cast, and his warning to the ladies on prom night is absolutely priceless.
I got good news and bad news, girls.
What?
The good news is your dates are here.
What's the bad news?
They're dead.
It's silly and fun and full of that 80s cheese. But it also has heart, which is important with such a wacky adventure. Coming in at number 7 is Prom Night, came out in 1980. The first prom-themed slasher follows a relentless killer who is out to avenge the death of a young girl who died after being bullied and teased by 4 of her classmates. Now high school students, the guilt-ridden kids, have kept their involvement a secret. But when they start to get murdered one by one, it's clear that someone knows the truth. This is best known for Jamie Lee Curtis' post-Halloween fame with a shorter hairstyle. I remember it best for the very disco Saturday Night Fever style prom, with Curtis and her partner doing some, I'll say, interesting moves. There's also, of course, the ex-girlfriend teaming up with the class bully, complete with unibrow and gap teeth. He literally looks like a cartoon character. It's very slow paced, and the slasher stuff doesn't happen till over an hour in. The carnage is more on the atmospheric side, but there's some good shenanigans involving a couple looking to get it on in a van. The killer dresses like a cat burglar, but his mask is sparkly, which makes him fabulous. What can I say? It's kind of weird, but it helped start the slasher craze of the 80s, so you gotta respect it because it's a classic. Coming in at number 6 is The Rage. Carrie 2 came out in 1999. When her closest friend commits suicide after being manipulated by the popular crowd, quiet and bookish Rachel Long, played by Emily Bergel, decides to go back at the guilty parties. Although Rachel falls for sensitive football player Jesse Ryan, she remains determined to punish his callous friends. Discovering she has superhuman abilities, it ups the stakes for her revenge, echoing a supernatural incident that occurred decades before. So yeah, it's Carrie in a 90s goth girl skin, but there are some fundamental differences. I've always enjoyed it despite it being far inferior to the original. I love the whole tattoo effect that happens when she rages. It's a very nice touch. And those extremely mean douchebags deserve everything that they get in a glorious Carrie ending. Coming in at number 5 is Fear Street Prom Queen, just released this year. Shadyside High's 1988 Prom Queen election becomes deadly for underdog Laurie as candidates are targeted. Although it's part 4 in a series of movies by Netflix, there's very little connective tissue except for it taking place in the same town, and some quick cuts to remind you. It's obviously inspired by the first Prom Night, but it also greatly improves on the idea. Unlike Prom Night, which takes forever to get to prom, the majority of this takes place at prom. You've got all the cliche characters, the popular mean girl, the girl that sucks up to her, the loner stoner, and Laurie, who's unpopular but wants to win prom queen and change the status quo. Like the other Fear Streets before it, the kill count is high, bloody, and creative. I also liked it for the 80s setting, as this is set 10 years after Fear Street 78. While Prom Night was all about disco, this is 80s pop, and you even have some dance numbers to mimic Prom Night even further. It's also obviously a whodunit, and the reveal is the weakest part of the ride. These Fear Street movies are probably never going to be classics because they're more of a greatest hits thing, but I enjoy them nonetheless. Coming in at number 4 is The Loved Ones, came out in 2009. I guess it's not good enough that Australia has all the world's deadliest animals. They've also got some of the world's most craziest horror movies. When Brent turns down his classmate Lola's invitation to prom, she concocts a wildly violent plan for revenge. After being abducted, he wakes up at a party in his honor with Lola, her father, a lobotomized woman, and before the festivities begin, they inject his vocal cords with bleach to render him speechless. And he's just feeling the tip of this dick. This is by far the most brutal, sadistic movie on this list. Lola is absolutely terrifying, and poor Brent is, well, not in for a fun night. This is obviously not something I'd recommend to just anyone, but for those with the taste for the extreme, yeah, you're gonna love this. Coming in at number 3 is Jennifer's Body, came out in 2009. Struggling band Low Shoulder performs a ritual sacrifice, killing hottie Jennifer Check, played by Megan Fox, to make a pact with the devil and achieve fame. Unbeknownst to them, she lied to them about being a virgin, admitting shortly before that she's not even a backdoor virgin. So she comes back as a succubus looking to devour all the boys at her high school. Well, again, so to speak. Like the poster says, she's evil, not just high school evil. Her BFF Needy, played by Amanda Seyfried, puts the pieces together and must stop Jennifer, who's got Needy's boyfriend in her crosshairs on the night of the big dance. This movie was misunderstood when it first debuted, as people were not suspecting a horror comedy, but it has since grown a cult following with horror fans. Fox is absolutely stunning, playing the demonic femme fatale as she easily lures these boys in and then eats them alive to preserve her energy and looks. I gotta give all the credit to Diablo Cody, as her writing is both comical and clever, and it's just all around fun. And my runner-up at number 2 is Hello Mary Lou, Prom Night 2, came out in 1987. Decades after promiscuous teen Mary Lou Maloney dies during a prank gone wrong, she returns as a spirit out for revenge and eager to punish those responsible, as she eventually possesses the body of prom queen contender Vicky Carpenter, played by Wendy Lyon, which allows her to wreak even more havoc at the school. The only connection to the first film is they both take place in the same high school, as this was released in Canada under the original title The Haunting of Hamilton High. It also mashes up concepts from hits like Elm Street, Carrie, Christine, and it has a little added sleaze that, yeah, I don't have a problem with. The effects, all practical, are all phenomenal, especially with some trippy dream sequences. All that stuff in her bedroom with that demonic rocking horse creeped me the F out. Michael Ironside from Scanners and V fame add those chops, which makes it even better. As far as slasher movies go, these are great creative kills. My favorite involves her stalking somebody in the locker room, and of course her victim hides in the locker. Big mistake.
A wop bobbaloo bop, a wop bam.
And my number 1 prom horror movie is Carrie, came out in 1976. In this adaptation of Stephen King's novel, withdrawn and sensitive teen Carrie White, played by Sissy Spacek, faces taunting from classmates at school and abuse from her fanatically religious mother at home. For me, nothing screams 70s more than Carrie, with its big hair, bell-bottom pants, and full frontal shower scene intro. It even sports John Travolta and the greatest American hero himself, William Catt. Growing up reading X-Men comics, this was as close to seeing a Jean Grey origin story as it's gonna get, as Carrie realizes she has telekinetic powers, and she pretty much goes Dark Phoenix at prom after a bucket of pig's blood is doused on her during her finest moment. Spacek is obviously a natural beauty, but is convincing being that awkward shy mouse. It's extremely campy, with an almost hokey theme song, the whole thing with "they're gonna laugh at you, they're gonna laugh at you," but it all works. I must admit the mother is easily my favorite character.
I can see your dirty pillows.
The kitchen scene at the end, where Carrie decides to throw every sharp object her way, and for some reason, after being stabbed multiple times, she's positively writhing in ecstasy. There was a remake in 2013 with Carrie being played by Chloe Grace Moretz. And when it comes to remakes, a lot of the times, fans will tell you that the problem with this particular remake is that it doesn't need to exist, which is fine if you give reasons. But while admitting that this isn't as good as the original Carrie, but I will say that it does update everything to a modern time. When Carrie is ridiculed in the shower, you've got girls with cell phones posting it online. It changes the dynamic a little bit from the city that never sleeps. Peace, baby.
This is a Brooklyn-bound express train. The next stop is Brooklyn Bridge.
Stand clear of the closing doors, please.